I wrote this poem, The Lion's Rear. It's really a poem about humility and self-effacement, so forth. When I was supervising, I supervised a Vietnamese woman who was a Buddhist, and I don't think she appreciated my Zen, and she would annoy me by fiddling with. I had on my desk two cups with little meditation stones and meditation shells, and I would always arrange them from smallest to largest. And she would always come in to my office, with some kind of question about liquidating an entry or something, and she would mess with my meditation stuff, and because I don't think she took seriously my my Zen, or else she just was a scutch. But she was a friend, and in the long run. But once I asked her, how come you never like my Zen poems on Facebook? And she would say, they're not very good, which was an ego blow. But, in her mind, as a practicing Buddhist, she didn't give them much credence. So maybe they didn't deserve it. I don't know. But anyway, so I've been reading this book by So. He was a Zen master, but he actually made his living selling tea. So there's a book called his name really was The Old Bookseller, the Old Tea Seller. And, he just sold enough tea every day to buy his bowl of rice, and then he would call it a day. But I'm reading the introduction, and it says that he practiced a self-effacing lifestyle, and which was, and the example was the author said, well, he lived like this Japanese, verse that references the Chinese lion dance, where two men wear the lion's costume, and one is the head and one is the rear end. And the poem is, don't beat the drum, don't blow the flute, don't be the front, be the lion's rear. So it's, it's like, don't take yourself too seriously. This poem is called The Lion's Rear. No philosophical confectioner, shaking sugar sand from canvas slip-ons and making sweet souls to steep in tea-hued brine. Him I follow in the brew, muck-sucking hooves, ooze and toe jam. Bait critters wriggle, minor mysteries, flesh to pressing flesh. Not the downy woodpecker's drum solo, pounding a resonant limb. Not the warbler's piping fife, tooting a blue breeze over the pitchy pines. Only in death's dance do I begin to feel the power of his suggestion, and evermore to shun the lion's rear. So it simply said, I'm using that Japanese verse when I talk about, don't beat the drum. I say, not the woodpecker's drum solo, and don't blow the flute. I'm saying, not the warbler's piping fife. The warbler has a very, sounds like a fife, and blowing, tooting in the breeze, and then there's of course the pun of the pitchy pines. Pitch pines is a very common tree, and in the pine barrens here, and pitchy is kind of a pun on the musicality of the warbler's call. So I think all in all that works, and again, it's a poem about humility and self-effacement. the lion's rear. There you go.